Taking the stadium court at the Rexall Center, two of the top players in the world battling today for the Rogers Cup Championship. Kim Clijsters and Justine Henin-Ardenne. Who could have possibly predicted the extraordinary paths these two young women from Belgium would take? Today, their paths cross once again. Kim Clijsters, the current hardcourt queen, and former world #1 Justine Henin-Ardenne in the fourth leg of the U.S. Open Series. The Rogers Cup Final is next on ESPN2. A beautiful afternoon in Toronto, Canada. A huge crowd expected here, nearly 12,000 in this beautiful Rexall Center. They want to see the Battle of the Belgians, Henin-Ardenne and Clijsters, meeting now for the 19th time, and this time it's for the Rogers Cup Championship in Toronto, Canada. Hi everyone, Tim Ryan with Mary Jo Fernandez here, and summer's hottest reality series, U.S. Open Series, has been a dandy right from the beginning. Kim Clijsters has already won twice on that series. She's clinched the standings. What a way for these two to come together here in Toronto as this thing just stays hot.
It's such a great matchup. You have two former #1s having incredible comebacks this year, and Kim Clijsters has been the hottest player during this U.S. Open Series. It all started for her at the Bank of the West Classic in Stamford, California. She would beat Venus Williams, having just come off her Wimbledon win in straight sets, and that was a player who gives Kim Clijsters lots of trouble. Then she would lose in the quarters of the Acria Classic, but she would win in LA, the JP Morgan Chase over Hantuchova 4-1. That was an easier title, and now she's in to the finals of the Rogers Cup. She defeated Meskina in the semifinals yesterday quite handily. Close first set, and then 6-1 in the second. She's been very solid, very fast. She's injury-free. She's looking to win her third U.S. Open Series event and her 6th title of the year. Very impressive on hard courts. This is her favorite surface, and this is a very big match for Kim Clijsters.
Only one loss, and that was to Peng Shuai, the exciting young Chinese player. Well, Clijsters has a lot of regard for her fellow countrywoman, Henin-Ardenne.
You know, she's a very talented girl, and she moves well. She defends really well, and I think she's definitely worked a lot on her weaknesses. And I think in the last few years, when Venus and Serena came up, and she was I think Venus and Serena, myself and Mauresmo, we were all girls. We had like our natural, power. That was just our body build, and she, I think she definitely worked a lot on her weaknesses, and all the credit to her. I mean, I think she's worked hard, and that's why she's come so far.
Well, definitely credit where it is due there from Kim Clijsters. Now, Justine Henin-Ardenne, she's only entered 6 tournaments this year. She started late, coming off that illness of a year ago, but she's won 4 of them. So she obviously is ready for another final.
She really is, and one of those 4 tournaments was the French Open, where she had to battle hard from the beginning. She's won a lot of tight 3-set matches, and last night, again, it would be a 3-setter against France's Amélie Mauresmo. Henin-Ardenne played really well for the first set in a couple games, led 7-5, 2-love. She was being the one coming up to net, using all her skills. It was a fun match to watch because you saw the great variety, the court speed, the athleticism from both players. Mauresmo would fight back in the second, and we'd see her trademark one-handed backhand with this passing shot. And in the third, Henin-Ardenne, after dropping the first game, would roll off 6 straight to beat Amélie Mauresmo 6-1 in the final set. So this was last night. Quick turnaround for Justine Henin-Ardenne, but when it gets tight, you got to put your money on Justine Henin-Ardenne because mentally she is so tough.
5th final in 7 tournaments this year. So you don't think the fact that she's had a 3-setter, a tough match in the quarterfinal against young Vaidisova, and Kim Clijsters has effectively cruised through here, you still lean toward Henin-Ardenne?
I lean a little bit towards Henin-Ardenne. It should affect her, shouldn't it? But we've seen in the past that she just bounces right back, and mentally she's got the advantage. The last 7 times they've played have been in finals, and Henin-Ardenne has won 5 of them, including 3 majors. I think Kim Clijsters is hungry. She needs this win more going into the U.S. Open.
Well, and I would say that that record might work in her favor. Maybe it's about time she beat her in a final. We'll be right back to find out. Rogers Cup Championship, Toronto, Canada. Clijsters, Anna Ardenne in a moment.
ESPN2's presentation of the Women's 2005 Rogers Cup. Brought to you by the American Express Card, a world of service. And TennisWelcomeCenter.com. A great workout is just a click away. Learn to play tennis fast.
Sunny sky, some beautiful white puffy clouds around, and after rain earlier in the week on Thursday, a torrential downpour that actually had the tennis court here at the Rexall Center looking more like a swimming pool, but it is perfect conditions today except for a quite stiff breeze. And you were down at courtside earlier. What's it like down there?
It was swirling around, I think, a little bit from all different directions, and that might benefit Kim Clijsters, more compact swings on her takebacks. But again, this is a very mental match for both players. They've known each other for so long, playing the juniors together. Were friendlier back then. Now it's more professional. And Justine Ardenne is a year older at age 23, 5'6", from Belgium, but now her hometown is Monte Carlo, and she's had a great comeback. Currently ranked 5 in the world. She's won 4 events, including the French Open. She is the defending champion in Toronto 2 years ago, was the champion here when it was played here. Last year was played in Montreal, and Mauresmo was the winner there.
Kim Clijsters, 22 years old, from Brie, Belgium, born nearby in Bilzen. And as we said, she has just been extraordinary this year, 48-6. She's moved up to 8th place in the rankings, coming off her wrist injury of a year ago. Didn't play last year because of that injury. The 5-2 mark in previous matches at the Rogers Cup. We said 19th meeting between the two. They started some time ago back in 1998, but I think the key is that in the last 7 matches, they've all been finals, and Ardenne has won 5 of the 7. Interestingly, the earliest they ever met each other in any of these 18 previous matches was in a 3rd round at Indian Wells back in 2001. Clijsters opens with the service.
The last time they played was in the finals of the Australian Open 2004, which was a little controversial towards the end because of a line call.
Yeah, we may have a look at that before our program is out today, because it was a controversial moment, and it didn't cement the friendship either, I don't think. All.
13 all.
Do you favor either of these women with the service?
During this event, Clijsters has been more consistent. We've seen a lot of double faults from Anna Ardenne. Remember, it's Anna Ardenne's first tournament since Wimbledon. She lost first round there, so she's had about 8 weeks off.
13.
Hasn't played any Sony Ericsson WTA Tour events, and I think maybe a little bit, but Clijsters, you just have to wait for the big moments, for the big opportunities to see if the forehand and the serve hold up for both players.
30.
It is windy out there, and you really have to focus on your footwork, trying to get prepared even earlier than usual. You have to be ready for anything, and on the serve, you really have to try to control your ball toss.
Forehand long and wide, and an immediate break point. Game 1 for Anna Ardenne.
I think that's the shot to look for today in this match from both players. How well they're hitting the forehands, how accurate they are with their big shot.
And the break goes to Anna Ardenne in the opening game of the match. Well, 2004 Australian Open, somewhat controversial point here in this match.
Well, it was 4-3 break point for Kim Clijsters. She came back from 4-love down in the third set, playing really well. Comes into net, hits the swinging volley, and the chair umpire overrules it and calls it out to give Anna Ardern the break and a 5-3 lead in this final set. Clijsters would only win 1 point in that next game, and Anna Ardern would deny Clijsters for the third time a major title.
Well, and you saw in the photos twice there that Justine was quick to point and call it out almost immediately, and she has received some criticism for that in the past in other matches, being a little too quick to be making calls, and that was such a crucial one that was a big story at the time.
Clijsters, from being down 4-love in that final set against Anna Ardern, got back to 4-3, really had the momentum on her side, had a couple game points and double faulted twice, so looking back, obviously those points were big as well.
Oh, sure.
But then break point is even bigger.
No, I think on the Clijsters side of that story, she still faces that can she win in the critical situations matter, because yes, she has had some big errors, double faults, etc., and critical times in Grand Slams, and she's still looking for her first victory. Love 15 and Ardern, second game of the match. And Love 30. One thing we'll certainly watch, because you and I have commented on it before in recent Clijsters matches, is how much command does she take along that baseline? Does she back away and be more defensive as a result? It'll be interesting to see how she chooses to play the very accurate Anna Ardern.
Very true. In her win last week in LA, she wasn't at her best because she was very defensive. She was content just to wait for her opponents to make the mistakes. And I think against Anna Ardern, you have to have that right balance. You have to be steady and consistent, but you have to stay on that baseline and be able to dictate as well.
15-13.
And that's somewhat a lazy shot there on that second serve.
We heard Clijsters talk about Anna Ardern and how much she's improved her weaknesses. Just being 5'6", she was able to get stronger and fitter. But another weakness she didn't talk about was the mental aspect. In the beginning of this rivalry, Anna Ardern was the weaker player mentally. Kim Clijsters won 7 of the first 9 tour meetings, including the French Open semifinal in 2001, where Anna Ardern led a set in a break and collapsed. A couple break points here for Clijsters, but really got her act together a couple years ago. In 2003 is when she finally, against the big players on the big occasions, came through, and since then she really hasn't looked back.
On the line. Forehand long. So break for 1-all in the first. You can keep up with the U.S. Open Series all summer long. For the latest scores, standings, and TV schedules, go to usopenseries.com. And next week, they'll go to New Haven, Connecticut. And that is the last of the Blue Court Series until the U.S. Open itself, which will also feature the blue court surrounded by green, as you've seen all summer season in the U.S. Open Series.
Clijsters has clinched the #1 spot in the U.S. Open Series standing, so she'll be competing for double the prize money. So if she were to win Instead of 1.1 million, it's 2.2. But let's just say she loses earlier. Quarterfinals, well, 135 to 270. Semifinals, 275.40. Pretty substantial jump.
30-15.
Yes, I'd say it was worth all of her effort.
It sure was.
In the U.S. Open Series. And she would very much like to add yet a third title in this series. Right here in Toronto, Canada today, 30-15.
I think regardless of the outcome of this match, she goes into the U.S. Open as the favorite because
Absolutely.
she's played the most. She's match tough. She loves the hard courts. She will be the one to beat.
Well, that's a typical point between these two players. It's never over till it's over. A lot of other players, that point would have been ended in Kleister's favor much earlier.
30.
Well, they both know that each other, they're so fast, and they're going to get the extra ball back. So you have to be patient. You have to expect balls to come back that normally would not. Game point for Kleisters.
And a little
Game
wild
Kleister.
shot there off the frame by Anna Arden, and Kleisters goes up 2-1 with a hold here in the first. Kim Kleisters up 2-1 in the first, and Justine Anna Arden had some words about her fellow Belgian before the match. Let's listen.
No, I'm very happy for Kim because she had a very difficult time like I had, and we came back almost at the same moment. But I think it's always been, for both of us, a great motivation to see the other playing well. So, no, it's very interesting this year. There's a lot of concurrence, and a lot of players can win the Grand Slams, and no one is dominating the tour. So I think it's going to be pretty exciting in the next few months.
I think she's right.
It has been wide open all year long. Very tough to predict a winner. Not only at the majors, but even at these big events like the Rogers Cup.
Justine Anna Arden from the French part of Belgium, as you could tell, with a French accent, and Kim Kleisters from the Flemish part of that little country adjacent to France. Another wobbly forehand from Anna Arden.
Kleister's doing a great job of moving the ball around the court, not hitting too many to one corner. Kleisters changes the direction of the ball so well. Got her moving side to side. Kleisters. Arden doing all the work right now.
Little opportunity here, love 30. Had 2 breaks in the first 3 games. Well, she's
Love
having some
14.
problems on the forehand. And it was a big weapon for her in the Mauresmo match. Played it very well last night. Great point.
A lot on the line today, not only a championship match, but both players trying to get the number 5 ranking. And Arden currently holds it, but will lose it if Clijsters wins this match.
And a double fault for the break. That's not going to make Justine happy. 3-1 lead Clijsters.
Clijsters started this year at 134 in the world on the Sony Ericsson WTA Tour rankings. Went to 133 right before the Pacific Life Open. Then she won that, went to 38, won the NASDAQ, went to 17, and she continues to win tournaments. She's currently at number 8, but with a win here, she'll go to number 5.
Well done, Clijsters.
Well, I'm watching just what you mentioned earlier, Tim, the court positioning of Kim Clijsters. Is she retreating? No, she's staying right along that baseline, looking to attack, still with good margin, hitting enough topspin on her shots to have some security. And in contrast, Anna Arden's the one defending and looking a little flat at the moment. Not walking with a whole ton of energy. That's too good.
And Arden thought that her shot was good enough to approach on deep to the corner. Not a lot of zip on it. And of course, Clijsters so fast.
Oh, she got on the outside of the ball so well. Used that left hand to get the angle.
40-love second serve for 4-1 in the first set.
Game, Clijsters.
Not a good-looking effort there by Anna Arden, who certainly seems off her feet at the moment here. Kim Clijsters up 4-1 in the opening set. Kim Clijsters with the lead here in the first set. Up a break on Justine Anna Arden. Next week, as we said earlier, the men and the women will join up together at the Pilot Pen in New Haven, Connecticut. Wednesday afternoon, ESPN2's coverage begins. The world's top-ranked women's players keep earning points on the U.S. Open Series Tour. ESPN2 Wednesday at 4 Eastern. Pilot Pen is also available on high def on ESPN2 HD. Call your cable operator or satellite provider for that.
Next week, Lindsay Davenport expected to play at the Pilot Pen. She's been recovering from the back injury. It's kept her out most of the summer. Hurt her back in the finals of Wimbledon against Venus in that tremendous performance by both players.
And Arden at 1-4 in the first here. There's something missing from what we saw last night. I think we both agree here on the part of Arden so far.
Well, that's exactly right. So far, we've seen Anna Arden so many times look like she's a little bit injured or tired, and she finds a way to dig deep and finds a way to get through these matches. And I think Clijsters knows that. She has enough experience. They've played enough that she can't take this for granted right now. She's got to keep playing the same way, same game style, trying to dictate and not have any letdowns. Remember when they played the finals of the U.S. Open in 2003?
13 all.
Anna Ardern had played that night match against Capriati.
Right.
She was down, and it was a great comeback. I think she was 2 points away from losing the match 10 different times. Finished way after midnight. She was cramping, dehydrated. Everybody said there's no way she's going to be able to win this match. And what does she do? She plays a terrific match the very same day.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. You don't ever count her out.
13-15.
But it's a little different look than we saw last night against Mauresmo. Although even in that 3-setter, she had her ups and downs too.
True.
3-4 games at a time, and ebb and flow of that match was kind of interesting to see. But at the end, there she was prevailing.
But she has had 2 tough night matches coming into this final. This is her first tournament back in the Sony Ericsson WTA Tour since Wimbledon.
40-15.
Her coach, Carlos Rodriguez, has been with Justine since Justine was 14, and her husband on the left in the white cap, Pierre-Yves. They're a little skydiving this week. Did a lot of it during the French Open. But I also think the conditions, the windy conditions, make you work that much harder. So if she is a little tired, it's going to make it even tougher in the wind.
So a hold for Anna Ardern. Gets to 4-2 here in the first set.
These two have had such similar careers, and their comebacks have come at the same time, and both of them have been so good. Look at their records: 48-6. Clijsters has the most match wins this year. 31-2 for Anna Ardern. 5 titles for Clijsters, 4 for Anna Ardern, and against the top 5, they've done really well. It's quite remarkable.
13 love.
Justine was asked yesterday about their similarities, and she was quick to say, we're really not that similar. Our personalities are different, our games are different, but when you look at the way they started and how Kim Clijsters got to the finals of the French in 01, then 2 weeks later, or 4 weeks later, was Anna Ardern getting to the finals of Wimbledon.
Yeah.
They get injured or out of leave the game at the same time, come back at the same time.
Who would have guessed at the beginning that you'd have 2 players playing at this level from the country of Belgium?
Such a small country. But they've always had really talented players, solid players.
But not at this level.
No.
Long from Clijsters. 30-15.
13-15.
There from Anna Ardern, drawing the air from Clijsters to 30-all.
30 all.
Came in so well last night against Mauresmo. Really putting the pressure on Mauresmo to come up with passing shots. Linesman on the baseline. There's Mark DeHoos, Kim Clijsters' coach. Jots down a lot of notes on his electronic little piece there.
Break point for Anna Ardern. Got the line. Christina Olofsson of Denmark in the chair was quick to make a call on that even before the linesman did. Inside
the line.
Clijsters in. Good lob, though. Great point. Both players showing their stuff.
Advantage in Anna Ardern.
It's great to see how both these players can turn a defensive point into an offensive one. And Ardenne gets one great get, and then she's able to come up to put away the shot.
First split of the day.
Second. Third.
She was going for the fourth. She realized the best she could do is just get a piece of that. Anna Ardenne to 4-3.
It's 4 games to 3.
Kim Clijsters up 4 games to 3, and Ardenne just breaking to get to 4-3. And a chance for us to remind you that ESPN2 has the LPGA Tour and the Wendy's Championship live from Tartan Fields Golf Club in Dublin, Ohio. Watch your favorite LPGA stars from tee to pin at the Wendy's. The Wendy's Championship for Children, presented by Dr. Pepper and Tylenol, Friday at 4 Eastern, Saturday at 2 Eastern, Sunday at 1 Eastern. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Balls for Anna Ardenne to serve here at 3-4. On serve now again in the first set. Another errant
Love
forehand.
15.
You see that patch on the back of Anna Ardenne's leg and wonder what that is. She's got a little hamstring strain that's troubled her before. She says it's not a problem at the moment, but she's been wearing that all of the short season she has played to just make her feel better. There was one moment last night in the Mauresmo match where I thought she might have twinged it a little bit, dashing for a short ball over by the umpire's chair, and she didn't make any kind of a big deal out of it that she had hurt it, but certainly didn't seem so the rest of the night, the way she played.
Played against a couple of qualifiers in her opening match. Diaz Oliva 1-3, and then China's Zheng Ji 2-4, and then a tough match against Vaidisova, up-and-comer 16-year-old from the Czech Republic. And last night against Mauresmo, the 3-setter.
Good serve, her favorite down the tee. LA was her talk to herself afterwards.
Her quarterfinal match ended up being pretty late because of all the rains that came down on Friday. That match ended just a little bit before midnight. With the forehand, this time it's Clijsters. Game point for 4-all.
Person.
Anna Ardenne with a hold. They're all even at 4 in the first set. And these are two of the fan favorites on the tour playing here today, and you can track your favorite player in the U.S. Open Series throughout the rest of the summer as they compete for double prize money at the U.S. Open. Log on to the USOpenSeries.com.
Well, we know who the two who are competing for double the prize money are, and that's Kim Clijsters on the women's side. She clinched when she won her quarterfinal match here in Toronto, and Andy Roddick clinched last night with his huge win over Leighton Hewitt.
Great job by Andy. So he's in that same attractive position of doubling his prize dough when he gets to the U.S. Open at Flushing Meadows.
15 love.
15 love.
But number 2 is up for grabs, and Justine Henin-Ardenne can clinch the number 2 spot if she wins today. And she would make 50% of her prize money at the U.S. Open. Clijsters had an easier path to the championship final, had a bye, and then Frenchwoman Rosano got a walkover from the young star Ivanovic from Serbia. She had a pectoral injury as well, like Sharapova. Panetta was 40 minutes, and then Meskina looked like it was going to be a better match at the beginning, but then it was all Clijsters.
Meskina had injured her ankle the day before, although it didn't show in the Clijsters match, but she didn't have the same kind of jump that she had shown previously. So yeah, it's been a little easier road to the championship for Clijsters, but should stand her in good stead here. She's the fresher of the two. Forehand going away on Henin-Ardenne again.
A lot of mishits from Henin-Ardenne on the forehand wing. Not sure what that signal was.
He wasn't pleased with
something
the strike.
about the forehand.
Yeah.
Again, the windier conditions affect the players with bigger loops. And I think with extreme grips like Justine Henin-Ardenne, Kim Clijsters a little bit more compact. Her backhand's even more compact than before her wrist injury. The injury came to her left wrist, and she takes it pretty straight back nowadays.
Is that because of the surgery, or because she just simply altered her swing as a result of being injured?
That's the winner. I think because of both. Because she had the surgery and she wanted to catch the ball a little earlier.
She's up 5-4. They call her Miss Congeniality on the posters promoting summer's hottest reality series. She's every bit that and a champion too. The Rexall Center is on the campus of York University in the northern part of Toronto, right on the border of the actual city of Toronto, within that border. And it is a beautiful facility, opened a year ago. The men's and women's tournaments alternate between Montreal and Toronto. So next year the men will be here, the women will be in Montreal. This is the Canadian Open Championship, as is the men's, now known as the Rogers Cup, but to the Canadians, still a Canadian International Championship. You can see that wind is definitely making things interesting down on the court. Swirling around there. Good drive there by Henin-Ardenne. Jumps on that and has the point right to the line. 30 love.
30 love.
Two breaks apiece at 4-5, and some of the cheerleading fans getting into it. Good 1-2 there from Henin-Ardenne.
Can't really tell who the crowd is favoring so far. Pretty even. Good first serve, then the inside out forehand. That was the 1-2 play that was very effective against Mauresmo.
Bad forehand miss there. Clijsters in position. And we're 5-all. Well, we mentioned there had been a big rainstorm here on Friday. I mean, look at how big. That's the center court. And they're out there trying to get that water off, and they did. Play actually continued in the evening. And during that time they're out there trying to get the water off the court, yes, that's Kim Clijsters.
She had some fun in the rain and in the puddles.
Sure did.
People were actually swimming on the side of the court where they were dumping all the water.
15.
And Clijsters, nobody asked her to go out. She said, I'm going to go see what's happening out there. And she just couldn't believe how flooded the court had gotten.
Quite amazing. And they had, of course, flooded roads and traffic at a standstill. It was kind of a mess for the city of Toronto. And today is glorious for the championship.
15.
15-all. At 5-all. Clijsters, remember, was up 4-1 here in a break. Just when we were starting to wonder about Anna Ardan's condition, and both physically and mentally.
We knew better than to counter out, didn't we?
Yeah, like we said, you just, with her, you don't
let her
ever
fool
counter
you.
out. Miss there on the forehand. 30-15.
It's about her 5th miss hit from the forehand. Mistiming that shot a lot today. Again, the wind, you have to move your feet a little bit more, get closer to the ball.
Whoa! 40-15.
So a point from 6-5 for Kim Clijsters.
And these two know each other so well. They've been playing since they were about 8 years old, and they know that on big points, they're each going to hit to each other's forehand. They know that's a side that breaks down. And it becomes so psychological trying to outmaneuver each other. Another miss hit, this time from the backhand.
Game Clijsters.
So Clijsters gets to 6-5 here on the first best of 3 championship match at the Rogers Cup in Toronto. This Rogers Cup Canadian Open Championship has had a long history, as you can see by all the winners listed up there. Look at that little patch there, 5 in a row by Monica Seles. Well, Stacey Allister, the tournament director, invited her to come back here. This was Monday night. She was the ambassador of the tournament. She hosted the players' party, the opening night party on Monday, received that beautiful bouquet, and had a chance to greet all of the fans. This is where she won her first title after that horrible stabbing incident that occurred in Germany. And so she has fond memories here because mainly because she had such success winning 5 in a row.
And she was so thrilled. She got a standing ovation and almost had tears in her eye. It was very emotional for Monica. She loved playing in Canada, had a lot of success, and I can't believe that it's been 10 years already.
Yeah. Well, and naturally they asked if she was coming back, and she hasn't closed the door. Still struggling with that. It's an ankle, isn't it? That's been
her
troubling.
foot. She's had a stress fracture in her foot that is just not healed the way she'd like to. Love 15.
Love 15.
Serving again to stay in this first set, Anna Ardan.
Clijsters unhappy with that effort.
Well, Wasn't a tough return of serve.
No, the ball was right there for her.
It's lack of concentration, just a little lapse. Ooh.
Huge miss hit on the backhand.
We keep mentioning the wind, and I think it's a big
15,
factor today for both players. We've seen a lot of miss hits from Anna Ardenne, but we've seen a lot of unforced errors as well from both players. So it's tough. You really have to focus. You have to keep your eye on the ball throughout, and you can see just the last minute, the ball jumped a little bit away from Anna Ardenne.
Double foul. That hurts her second.
Gives Clijsters 2 set points. Only 4 winners. That's surprising for Anna Ardenne, but both players with a lot of errors, but a lot more from Anna Ardenne.
It's almost the kind of point where each player was waiting for a miss from the other side, because we've seen enough misses on the unforced errors category to indicate that that's not the worst strategy. Still a set point for Clijsters. Clijsters has the first set, 7-5 in this championship match for the Rogers Cup at the Rexall Center in Toronto, Canada. The U.S. Open Series continues on. Kim Clijsters winning the first set, 7-5 over the 4 seed, Justine Ardenne. We saw some of her typical athletic work during the course of that set, much of it all on the same point, the famous slide.
Well, we saw 1, then we saw 2, and we'd see a 3rd in the same rally. Such a great effort, always giving it her all. It forces her opponents to just hit that extra 1, 2, 3 shots.
Second
That
set.
puts a lot of pressure on everybody she plays against.
She gets a genuine pleasure out of it too, though. I mean, I think that's it's a big part of it. It's unique. There's nobody else that can do it, or at least won't attempt it. And I think she just enjoys that whole experience every time she makes it in play.
Well, it gets her back into a lot of rallies, that split move. I get scared because I think she will injure herself. She hurt her knee a bit during the clay court season doing one of the splits, but she said, no, I'm going to keep doing it. It's part of Kim Clijsters' repertoire. It's part of her game.
Absolutely. I always wonder if she has a little WD-40 on her shoes on the hard courts or something. I'm not quite sure how she pulls that off on the hard court.
The other person I can think of that used to do that a little bit was Michael Chang.
Yeah.
One of the fastest players on the men's tour. And even on a hard court, you'd see him sometimes go for the slide.
And there's a little brief racket bounce from Anna Ardenne, showing her disgust at her play. 30-15. Just doesn't quite have the jump today that she had in the semifinal, but again, we have to keep repeating. It really doesn't mean anything until the match is over.
Exactly.
You look at the scoreboard, because she can just turn things around, and she's comfortable going 3. Miss on that low ball with the volley attempt, and Clijsters has the first game of the second set.
First game, second set.
Well, as part of the American Express Summer of Aces program throughout the 2005 U.S. Open Series and the U.S. Open itself, for every ace served on Stadium Court during the Rogers Cup here, the American Express card will donate $50 to the USDA Tennis and Education Foundation to support the Aces for Kids. It's just a great program, and they're up to $5,300 here in Toronto, and a total of more than $110,000 for the series to date. That's just great.
A couple aces have been added today by Clijsters. None yet for Anna Ardenne. Anna Ardenne was able to be much more aggressive yesterday in her win over Mauresmo. We saw her come to net so often. Only been to net 8 times today, winning 6 of those points, but has very few winners. Only 5.
Ooh. Post miss.
If she's going to get back into this match, Anna Ardenne, she's going to need to start being more aggressive, start controlling rallies. Even though Clijsters has a lot of errors as well, she's the one that's been dictating play. She's been moving Anna Ardenne corner to corner.
Lazy miss on the backhand alternative serve. A couple of times on second serve she's found herself in that situation. 40 love. That's a good serve. And an easy hold for Anna Ardenne. Even at 1 in the second set. Well, for more on the U.S. Open Series, schedule, standings, television programs, latest scores, etc., you can go to the USOpenSeries.com and get caught up on all of the information. We do know now that Andy Roddick sewed up the men's U.S. Open Series standings, joining Kim Clijsters in that category. She led the U.S. Open Series on the Sony Ericsson WTA Tour.
Clijsters looking to win her 3rd U.S. Open Series title. Clinched it here with a quarterfinal win. Mary Pierce won the Acura Classic. That's why she's still at number 2 with 100 points. But this match will alter things. If Henin can come back and win it, she'll clinch the number 2 spot. If she doesn't, it leaves room for Mauresmo perhaps to do something in New Haven.
Another miss hit on the forehand from Anna Ardenne. I had to feel a little badly for Mary Pierce. She got that victory there and then had the thigh injury while she was practicing her serve at the LA tournament. An odd kind of a thing. Strained a thigh muscle, and she's been playing so well. I hope that when the U.S. Open begins that she's back in form and she will be a contender there. Playing the way she has. That's long from Clijsters.
13-13.
Just one more player to add to the mix, Mary Pierce.
It's a big mix. It's going to be a lot of fun. play by Kleisters, again moving Anna Arden corner to corner.
30 all.
It seems from up here that it's a little easier to play from the end where Kim Kleisters is. She has a little bit more wind at her back. Good whack from Anna Arden, really went after that second serve.
And has a break point as a result.
A lot of breaks in this match already.
Body serve paid off for Kleisters. Deuce.
And Arden choosing to hit the backhand.
Advantage Kleisters.
Another good serve by Kleisters. I always felt that if you got a body serve and you're a righty, playing against a righty, you should go to where the ball's leaning towards. And it was leaning towards Anna Arden's forehand.
Game Kleisters.
3 quick points, however, for Kleisters.
Good job to dig that out. And she's up 2-1. Second set with a set in hand.
This leads 2 games to 1.
On serve in the second set, Kim Kleisters up 2 games to 1, having won the first 7-5 in this championship match. And prior to this, the doubles championship was settled, and guess who won yet another title?
You guessed it, Martina Navratilova.
With Annalena Grunfeld, the 20-year-old German, defeating Conchita Martinez and Virginia Ruano Pascual in 3 sets. And was she happy afterwards? I mean, it was like she had won Wimbledon singles. I mean, she was just...
Let's think about this. She's 48 years old.
It's fabulous.
2 years ago, she won the doubles titles here in Toronto, and she said, well, unfortunately, I probably won't see you in 2 years' time, right? And she comes back, wins it. She actually got a piece of that old court. We're in a new stadium now. But today, she said, after her victory, hopefully I'll see you in 2 years. So can you imagine in 2 years' time when she's 50, if she's still playing?
Well, I wouldn't be shocked, I'll tell you that. And the reason she says 2 years is what I mentioned earlier, if you're just trying to say, they rotate the men's and women's tournaments. So the women will be in Montreal next year.
Makes this tournament very unique.
It does, and I think it's terrific because there's a huge following for tennis and in the major cities, particularly in Canada, in Toronto and Montreal in the eastern part of the country. So they get to have the men one year and the women the next. They know that's how it's going to rotate, and it's terrific. Great idea. Love 15 Anna Arden. And 1-2 here in the second, but down the set to Kim Kleisters.
Off-balanced Anna Arden. Again, combination maybe of fatigue, also the wind. She sets up, but just not the right timing. The ball was not in her strike zone.
Oh, yes.
Kleisters getting Anna Arden off the court, and then a great forehand with a lot of depth down the line. Those are 3 breakpoint opportunities.
well constructed that time by Anna Arden. Saves one of 3 break point opportunities for Kim
15,
Clijsters.
14.
You can actually hear the wind now through those flags at the top. Standing out straight, it's really gusting and blowing the hair of Anna Arden. Going to wait a little bit here because her ball toss might wind up in the doubles alley.
A little more pressure now on the second serve with this wind.
There you go. Good call.
Clijsters.
A double fault for the break and a 3-1 lead for Kim Clijsters. Well, the Pilot Pen begins next week, and ESPN2's coverage begins Wednesday afternoon. That's from New Haven, Connecticut. The world's top-ranked women's players will keep earning points on the U.S. Open Series Tour. ESPN2 Wednesday at 4 Eastern Time. Also available in high definition. If you're lucky enough to have it, call your cable operator or satellite provider today.
It's actually a combined event this year for the first time. Men and women will be in New Haven at the Pilot Pen. And I'm looking forward to the high definition. It's going to be
Have
like,
you got one?
I do.
You do.
It's going to be just like being there.
You're ahead of me as always. Well, but you are going to be there.
That's true.
I'll go to your place and
There you go.
watch it on your high def. Oh, yes. Clijsters jumps in there and puts that away with some elan. 15 love.
15.
She had to kind of get out of the way here. It was at her head, and she puts that volley away. And remember, this is a huge match for Kim Clijsters. That's wide. Clijsters led their head-to-head earlier in their rivalry, but it's been Anna Arden winning the big matches. The last 7 times these two have played have been in finals, with Anna Arden winning 5 of them, including 3 major titles, the French, the U.S. Open, and Australia.
Last year, Lindsay Davenport had a run in these hard court events and wound up at number 1. Clijsters dominating this year, much as Lindsay did last year. And of course, Davenport might have duplicated it for all we know this year, but with the back injury suffered at Wimbledon, hasn't been able to go. Didn't finish her first match at Stanford, the opening event.
But if Clijsters can win here, she will have defeated 2 players that really give her a hard time. One in Venus Williams in Stanford, and Anna Arden even more. Being from the same country, growing up together, it's been very tough mentally for Clijsters, and knowing that you have a win over a tough opponent at a major makes all the difference in the world. She'll go into the US Open thinking, okay, if I do play Justine, I know I can win now.
She's 40 love here for 4-1 in the second set. And another missed hit. Anna Arden just not seeing the ball well at all. The wind or whatever. So far, it's Kim Clijsters very much in control here now. 7-5 and 4-1. Well, the battle of the Belgiums, and right now Kim Clijsters is in control of the battle. 7-5 and 4-1. Justine Anna Arden will have to pull some rabbits out of her hat to get back into this one. Last night she won the first set against Amelie Mauresmo, dropped the second and won it in 3. A little different here today, being down a set and definitely not playing at the same level as she did in the semifinal, and even in that one it was a bit of a roller coaster. Sailed on. The 19th meeting between these two players. 8-8 overall, but as we've said, in the last 7 matches, all of which were finals, Anna Arden had a significant edge at 5-2.
including the last time they played. It was the Australian Open 2004 final.
First.
It was the third Grand Slam title that Anna Ardern defeated Clijsters in.
Didn't put that where she wanted to, and Clijsters an easy pass.
15 all.
Clijsters barely getting up to that ball because of the wind, and the wind affected that short ball as well. I think Anna Ardern would have preferred to hit it down the line, but found herself coming across the ball because of where it landed.
Oh, that's good stuff there from Clijsters. Couple of quick steps. Pick up the slice.
15-13.
Clijsters has been able to handle the conditions better today. Better footwork. She's gotten closer to the ball, is able to hit the backhand winner for 15-30. Must-win game here for Anna Ardern.
Great touch considering the win from Anna Ardern.
What a time, too, to try the drop shot, being down 4-1 and 15-30. She's behind the baseline. Great feel. Even the speedy Clijsters gets to it, but has trouble controlling it.
Normally, it would not say that that was the smartest play she could have made, Anna Ardern, in the windy conditions from there, but she executed it perfectly. Another miss hit.
30-14.
Break point Clijsters to get to 5-1 here in the second. Oh yeah. Solid play by Kim Clijsters. 5-1 and up a set.
5 games to 1.
A game from the Rogers Cup Championship on her service.
Great anticipation by Clijsters, reading where Anna Ardern was going to go with the approach.
Thank you.
Executing the passing shot.
Love.
15 love. Wide. 30 love.
Two points from home for Kim Clijsters.
Thank you.
It would be her third victory in the U.S. Open Series. Her sixth title of the year. And she's got a bunch of match points, championship points for Kim Clijsters.
She'll be ranked 5 in the world. Tremendous comeback.
And that's where she belongs, up in that top 5 for sure. Another bad miss by Anna Arden. A lot of those miss hits today. Kim Clijsters had far fewer, and she is the champion of the Rogers Cup here in Toronto, Canada. The better Belgian on the day, 7-5 and 6-1. Her 6th championship of the Sony Ericsson WTA Tour this year. Three of them coming in the U.S. Open Series. And she goes to the U.S. Open as the leader in that standings of the U.S. Open points board that gives her a great chance to double her bucks if she can win the U.S. Open itself. And right now she must go in there as the favorite. We'll be back with more here from the Rexall Center in Toronto, Canada in a moment. Surprisingly easy win for Kim Clijsters, her 3rd U.S. Open Series title, 6th of the year on the Sony Ericsson Tour. 7-5, 6-1 over Justine Anna Arden. And our Olympus shot of the day came in the 2nd set. And it was a dandy. Many shots that we've seen from both players today were outstanding. But it was Clijsters. Knocking that one away for the winner, our Olympus shot of the day by the Rogers Cup champion, Kim Clijsters. Let's go down to meet the champion with our Mary Jo Fernandez at courtside.
Thanks, Tim. Kim, congratulations on winning another title during the U.S. Open Series. Tough conditions. Tell how much that affected the final today.
It was tough. It was especially because when I warmed up this morning, there was no wind, and I was hitting the ball well this morning, and just out there too, it was very important for me to just stay focused and keep using my legs. It's always tough when the wind is there and the ball is moving around all the time. You just have to just move your feet all the time.
How much does this win help you mentally going to the U.S. Open? How much confidence do you get from it?
Any win is helps your confidence, but this one especially, it's been a great American summer for me so far, and this just tops it all off. So I'm very happy with this win.
Well, you clinched the U.S. Open Series. You'll be playing for double the prize money. Where do you go next?
Where do you think? U.S. Open.
Congratulations, Kim.
Thank you.
Your 6th title of the year and your 3rd U.S. Open Series win. Tim?
Okay, Mary Jo. Well, we've got some more tennis to show you.